Hi everyone, this is Joseph Sang. Today we'll be talking about a 751 waiver case, and it's actually a motion to reopen as well. These are usually the most interesting when you put the two together. So first, what is a 751 waiver? A 751 is a joint petition. A person comes into the US, marries a US citizen, gets a green card, and now after 2 years needs to remove the condition and get a permanent green card. You file a 751. But what if throughout that 2 year waiting period, the marriage dissolves, gets a divorce, the government still allows you to get the permanent green card if you file a 751 waiver, provided that your marriage is bona fide, it is real, it is not entered into to defraud the immigration government, it is not to circumspect immigration laws, it is not to create a fake marriage, right? So a 751 waiver. This Chinese Cambodian fella came to the US, got married to this Hispanic lady, met them at work, and they dated for a while, got married, got the green card within a very short amount of time. I don't remember exactly how long, approximately a year, got divorced. This Chinese Cambodian guy, he's traveling all the time because of work, so he's hardly ever home. So when they had to file the 751 waiver, there was just not that many documentation. But he did his best, got the witnesses to attest that the marriage is real, the few pictures that they taken together, the few text messages and email, put it together. Super weak, not a lot of joint documentation financially because they weren't very wealthy. An interview notice came. He went to the interview with one of our attorneys and just got grilled during the interview, asked them all these questions, and him being a very timid man had a hard time answering and really talking about his case. And the few things that he did say contradicted other parts, small contradictions though. Where did you meet? When did you meet? Things like that you kind of sort of forget. So he didn't get every question correct. Came back at the end of the day, the case was denied. And we looked at it and we felt it was somewhat justified because the case was weak. He knew it was weak. He knew the case would be weak even before he got into divorce. We kind of warned him about it. He went home. He came back the next day and said, but I really, really want you to try again, right? The client is pleading with us to try to argue his case again. But I told him there's just so little documentation. He's like, I could try to get some more. I have more friends who can come out and testify, or could write longer letters that explains why the relationship is real. And the denial notice, I read through it over and over again. The officer really misunderstood me, all this stuff. I'm like, look, the chances is very slim. Where you're going to overturn a decision that the officer already had an interview face to face, and there's all these contradictions in place. So we are like, okay, well, let's try. If you're able to supply the documents, we're willing to do it for you, right? I was still very skeptical at this point. And then I called the attorney that worked with us to go to the interview. And then the attorney was like, yeah, it was actually super bad. I mean, our client, it wasn't the best, didn't have the best answers to everything, but the way the officer was just questioning him and attacking him, he was only hearing what he wanted to hear, and he was just looking for ways to deny the case. You could tell he was not an objective interview. And it was to the point where I got really frustrated and I started arguing with him, and I went up to the supervisor to talk about the behavior of this particular officer. The attorney actually said, look, I know the case is weak, but because of the behavior of the officer was just so unprofessional, this is not America, I'm willing to write a letter to the director explaining how I feel and what I observed. And so our attorney crafted this long, like I think 5 to 8 page detailed account of everything that happened and every wrong thing that the officer did. Prior to submitting the motion to reopen, the whole thing, we only had 30 days. Our attorney actually brought it to the director, and the director said, actually, thank you for doing this motion to reopen and giving a detailed account of the conduct, because you're not the first one to make this complaint. There have been many people that described it, but there was just no formal process for us to do anything. So now that you're going through this motion to reopen with this detailed account and you have credibility with us because you come to us with reviews of good officers, and now you coming with a review of a bad officer, we will take this into account. So we put it together, we filed it, and within a month, the case was reopened and then approved. No additional request for evidence, no interview notice, it was approved. This is the only time that I've ever heard of any 751 waivers getting approved after a motion to reopen. It's extremely difficult. In this instance, I think it's to the credit of the attorney who was able to detail everything. And that just kind of shows you that good character works. Again, this is another proof that USCIS's process works. Very happy about this case. If you guys have any questions about 751 waiver, you want to brainstorm, feel free to have a strategy session. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Thank you, and I wish you guys the best. Bye-bye.